don't know about before the game.
Good evening, and welcome to tonight's FWCS Board of School Trustees meeting. We begin this meeting like we do each meeting with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And now we have roll call of members.
Good evening, Steve Corona from the 5th District.
Good evening, Antoinette Payne, District 4.
Julie Hollingsworth, District 1.
Noah Smith, District 3.
Jennifer Mathias, District 2.
Ann Duff, Member at Large.
And to my left, we have Dr. Mark Daniel, Superintendent, Fort Wayne Community Schools, and Angie Filler, Clerk of the Board, and I am Maria Norman. I'm a Member at Large. So tonight we start with awards and recognition, some exciting ones. We're going to start with a video, though, and then we will recognize. So cue up the video.
Somewhere around my early 20 years of military service, I realized I was going to have to retire. And I was like, I think I can go back and get my degree. So I went back to college in my 40s at Indiana Tech. I graduated at 48, retired from the military, and was able to finally start substitute teaching. After a few long-term subs, the principal of Franke Park offered me a full-time position. And so here I am. They need to be challenged. We have to raise that expectation, get them to believe that they're capable of great things, and they need people to believe in them, to inspire them, to motivate them, and then also resource them to make sure they know they have what it takes to do the things they need to do to succeed. The older I got, the more I looked back on my life. I spent a lot of time in the military interviewing people that weren't able to join the military because of their academics, and I realized how easily that could have been me. And the only reason it wasn't was because I had all these amazing teachers that would put a boot in my butt, that would challenge me, that would tell me I was better than the behaviors I was exhibiting, and they just believed in me. And they believed in me more than I believed in myself. And the older I got, and the more young people coaching Little League Baseball, working in the military, being around them, I realized there's a need for this, that we've got to get out there and show them how much we care about them. And I couldn't just talk about it, I had to get out and actually do it.
I love working in a school. That's what I'm called to do. I love young people and working with young ladies. That's my specialty. So I get the best of both worlds. I get the mental health piece, the social work piece, as well as the youth piece. The best part about being with Fort Wayne Community Schools is that I have an opportunity to serve every single day. There's diversity, there's all different types of needs, and so if it's going on, it's happening in Fort Wayne Community Schools, and I feel like the culture is that we're here to serve. I feel that although people are becoming more comfortable talking about mental health, there's still room at the table, and we need to keep the conversation going. I feel that my role is important because I'm going to create a safe space for everyone where we can sit down at the table, we can talk about mental health, and then we can get a plan to reduce the stigmas and so that all of us are taking care of ourselves. This is an opportunity, not just coming to work for a job, but I'm here to serve and do it gracefully in class and with humility.
I am blown away. I was humbled when Adam told me that I was Northrop's Teacher of the Year because I work with incredible educators every single day, and I've just been shocked and humbled with every step of this process. I think teaching high school specifically has really opened my eyes to how every student really has this need to be seen and how important that is. And you know, high school students love to be cool and maybe not show all their emotions right off the bat, but really being able to be vulnerable and to watch them be able to be vulnerable, to really see them change and grow so much over 4 years, and to learn a lot about them and to get to know them and their families is just such a really cool opportunity to see them grow so much between the ages of 14 and 18.
All right. It is recommended that the board recognize the district's 24-25 Teacher and Employee of the Year finalist. Each year, FWCS requests nominations from principals for the Teacher of the Year and Employee of the Year recognition. In the spring of 2024, FWCS received 89 applications and narrowed them down to 17 finalists in 3 categories. These finalists were interviewed by committees, which selected 2 teachers and 1 employee as the 2024 FWCS Teachers of the Year and Employee of the Year. We would like to formally recognize the finalists for their hard work and dedication to the students of this district. Elementary Teacher of the Year finalists: Caitlin Boyle. I don't know that they all came over. And she is a teacher at Northcrest Elementary School, music teacher. Christina Osei, Waynedale Elementary School. She did come. She is a teacher for English language learners. Erin Patton McFerrin, Whitney Young, STEAM early childhood art teacher. Tabitha Sprunger, St. Joseph Central Elementary School, also an art teacher. And then rounding out Elementary Teacher of the Year finalist, Nora Whitmer from Studi Elementary. She's a 3rd grade teacher. And those are our Elementary Teacher of the Year finalists. Okay. Normally you stop for pictures, so.
Squeeze it.
All right. Congratulations. Okay, then we have Secondary Teacher of the Year finalists. We have Ann Applegate, FWCS Career Academy, Culinary Arts teacher. We have Whitney Byers, Lane Middle School, 6th grade Science and Social Studies teacher. Eileen Doherty, Tolles New Tech Middle School, 6th grade Science. Jordan Painter, Northside High School, Special Education, Applied Skills. And Amy Ross from Southside High School, where she is the dance teacher. Okay. Congratulations. Employee of the Year finalist, Amanda Berry, Haley Elementary School. She's the School Improvement Liaison. Ashley Bever-Forden from Washington Elementary, Case Manager. Did I butcher that? Sorry. Tanya Wow. From Price Elementary School, Special Education Assistant, and Carmen Harvey, Southside High School, Student Services Secretary.
You can come closer and get pictures if you'd like.
Yeah. Need another picture? No? Okay.
We'll send them to you.
Congratulations. Okay, now it is recommended that the board recognize Studi Elementary School licensed therapist Kayla Guy as the district's 2024 Employee of the Year winner. In the spring, In the spring of 2024, FWCS received submissions from principals for the Employee of the Year honor. 37 staff members were nominated for this honor. A committee was established to select finalists and review the nominations and interview the finalists. And the committee chose 10-year employee Kyla Guy, licensed therapist at Studi Elementary School, as the 2024 Employee of the Year. We're honored to have you be a part of the district, and congratulations. You're welcome. You're welcome. Thank you. Okay, then we have the Teachers of the Year. It is recommended that the board recognize Northrop High School interior design teacher Karen Brumbaugh and Franke Park Elementary School teacher Ricky Weber as the district's 2024 Teacher of the Year winners. Once again, there was in the spring of 2024, we reviewed submissions. Let's see how many applications there were. It doesn't tell me.
Millions.
There were millions of applications, and these are the two that won out of 1 million submissions. As our district winners, FWCS was invited to nominate these two for the 2025 Indiana Teacher of the Year. We were delighted to learn that Karen Brumbaugh's application advanced to the selection committee as a top 25 finalist in the state. Mr. Weber, Mr. Brumbaugh, we are honored to have you be a part of the district, and congratulations. Thank you so much. Well, we still have some of the family members in the room. I just want to say thank you for sharing your very talented family members with us. I know that being a teacher and an employee isn't always as glamorous as we'd like to think, but we appreciate your dedication to the district, and thank you again. Congratulations. Okay, next up we have the New Tech Network Spotlight School. New Tech Academy at Wayne has earned the distinction of being a Spotlight School. The focus was meaningful and equitable instruction and creating a supportive and inclusive culture. The New Tech Network consists of over 200 elementary, middle, and high schools. New Tech Academy at Wayne is one of only 6 Spotlight schools network-wide. They will be featured on the NTN website at a later date to describe their accomplishments and all the reasons that make New Tech Academy at Wayne a Spotlight school. Please come forward as your name is called so we may congratulate you. Rachel Eckenbach, facilitator. Beth Manili, facilitator. Megan O'Sullivan, facilitator. Kay Wells, facilitator. Miss Emily Oberlin, the New Tech Academy at Wayne director. And Dr. Corey Franklin, principal at Wayne High School. Don't leave. I have questions. So was this an application process? And we'll invite you to go to the microphone. Yeah. Tell us how you became a Spotlight school.
So it is an application process. We were actually asked by our New Tech Network coach to apply. We often host tours throughout the year, executive tours and leadership residencies to kind of help new tech schools model it. And after being there, they asked us to apply in these 2 areas. And we're proud of those 2 areas. I think it's important. There are 4 categories, and we were asked to apply in those 2, and we'll be model schools for other new techs being built around the nation. So we're pretty proud of it, but I'll let somebody else do some talking.
Yeah, absolutely. Were there particular projects that you highlighted in the application to meet the 2 categories?
We didn't highlight particular projects, but we talked about some processes that are specific to our faculty collaboration. We talked about how we structure our projects in order to best differentiate and support scaffolding, going from big concepts down to the skills and standards that are part of the Indiana curriculum. And we talked about, Kay, what was some of the stuff you talked about? Kay talked about how she facilitates professional learning as an instructional coach and really helps to create shared democratic processes and a teacher-led feedback system.
Awesome.
Did I cover everything?
Any other questions?
Well, before they leave, I just wanted to share with you and Emily's colleagues a conversation I had as I was coming into the board meeting and room this evening, and that is 2 weeks ago, I was in Indianapolis meeting with a delegation of HR folks from Lilly, and the young woman who set this meeting up went to New Tech, Melanie Sanchez. She is in HR, and I just told Lilly, the largest company in Indiana, that they need to do recruiting in our city. They don't do it now. They have Lilly Days at Bloomington. They have Lilly Days at Lafayette. They have Lilly Days at Madison in Wisconsin, but they don't have a Lilly Day in Fort Wayne. So Melanie and I are going to make that happen to really open up that avenue and that opportunity for all of our kids in Fort Wayne. So you started it.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Oh,
Nope. Go.
In the spring, Ann and I were able to take a tour, and that was of what, like you do for your other perspective or other new tech schools. And if you haven't had that opportunity, and you have another one of those, you should take that opportunity. What I found that I enjoyed most, obviously I enjoyed listening to the students and talk about what they feel is their benefit at New Tech, but your collaboration at the end that Ann and I sat in was something that I think that I'd like to see a lot of people do. You brought that, whatever the problem was or whatever your project-based learning was, and then everybody contributed, and it was a very time structured. It was awesome. You know, they have this many time, the person's like, time, you're up, but I thought that you accomplished so much in that very small amount of time, and it was so helpful. I just think everything about that day was a great day, and it's such an interesting program, and you guys are doing a fabulous job, so congratulations.
Thank you.
I'd also add, with the renovation of Wayne High School and New Tech, it does take a special configuration of classroom space as well as meeting space. And if you haven't seen the new tech, it's pretty phenomenal. So, again.
Well, mine's done. Mine is 1 million tiny things. Right?
Yeah.
We're generous
Getting
enough
close.
to find people.
Sorry, I'm going to just butt in. If there were an Administrator of the Year award, I just want to say that all of the successes that we've experienced, we would not experience without our director, Emily Oberlin. She is just an incredibly skilled facilitator, providing both support, accountability, and freedom for teachers to learn and grow together. So I really just want you to hear that, how beloved she is by the New Tech staff.
Thank you.
Well, congratulations. And Emily, congratulations on Administrator of the Year. Thank you all for being here. Congratulations. Okay, all the happy news. That ends our awards and recognition for this evening, although it did make me feel very happy and bubbly on the inside. So, good stuff. All right, next up we have the consent agenda, which includes the approval of minutes from the regular meeting on August 26th, vouchers and payroll, and the personnel report.
Move we approve.
Second.
Thanks, Noah. Thanks, Steve. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Dr. Daniel?
So I do have a couple of items I'd like to share. First of all, as we look at our openings throughout our district, there have been times when we've had between 50 to 75 positions open in our teaching ranks. This year, right now, we're 99% filled. So I'd like to thank what's happening in our HR in regards to our onboarding processes and the fact that we're retaining teachers. So wonderful news there. Also, in classified, normally we'll have close to 200 openings. We're at 89 openings right now. So that's 97.2% filled. So I want to say special shout out to Austin Couch and what's happening in that space, as well as Ramona Coleman and our, again, our professional onboarding process for all of our employees. Lastly, we do have in your packet a retirement information, and I'd like to take this opportunity to congratulate Dr. Nikki Sprunger. So, Nikki, congratulations. She is retiring after nearly a 40-year career in special education. 43. Who's counting? She came to FWCS in 2017 as the Director of Special Education, was later promoted to the Assistant Superintendent of Diverse Learners. Dr. Sprunger is driven to help all students reach their fullest potential, but I'd also like to say she is we have never had an issue in regards to compliance. So we've always been above the bar. And I attribute that to Dr. Sprunger and her ability to be detailed in what she does. But again, we also want to say congratulations for a job well done and enjoy your next journey or your continued journey.
You told me earlier she started at age 12, so.
Nice.
Thank you.
We have no old business, which brings us to new business. Steve, can you do the first bullet?
Yes, I can.
Thank you.
It is recommended that the board approve the acceptance of the 2024-25 formative assessment grant from the Indiana Department of Education in the amount of $134,520. The IDOE's formative assessment grant provides funding to schools for formative assessment programs, tools, and professional development to increase data-driven instructional practices. The funding allocation is based on the number of students and approved assessments. We will use grant funds to purchase Dibbles K through 2 and the College Board PSAT 8-9 for 9th graders and any professional support needed. And we have Dr. Jean Hitchcock, Coordinator of Assessment, present to answer any of our questions.
Thanks, Steve. Is there a motion on the floor?
Move for approval.
Second.
Thanks, Julie. Thanks, Jen. Any questions for Dr. Hitchcock?
I have one. What is the cost of the tests versus how much we'll be able to use to provide supports? Do you have a rough breakdown?
You mean
of that?
supports as in PL?
Yeah,
Well, they give us,
or whatever support you're offering.
yeah, they give us a set amount per student, period. And how you're using it is, whatever portion of PL that is, or whatever portion the company's charging us. So they cover those costs.
How much is the set amount per student? Do you know that?
I think it's $675 per, like ELA and math, per content area.
Thank you.
One question just on assessments in general. Is this the year that I read is split into, what, 3 parts or something like that?
I learned.
iLearn, I'm sorry.
Yes, it's iLearn checkpoints,
Okay.
and which is why you see K to 2,
Right.
and then it goes to 9. Because 3 through 8, they're now doing the iLearn checkpoints, which are, it's no charge to us, the state
Right.
just has those.
Right.
So yes, we'll do 3 checkpoints, and then we'll do an iLearn summative.
And when are the, so there's 3 checkpoints plus the summative?
That's correct.
Okay,
Yep.
thank you.
Any other questions? Thank you. All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Okay. Next up, we have the second semester extracurricular reports. Tony, can you do that one?
It is recommended that the board accept the extracurricular account reports for the second semester of the 2023-2024 school year. Indiana Code 2041-18 requires an accurate account of all money received and expended by extracurricular accounts. All extracurricular semester reports are audited by the business office and are available for inspection for 10 years. Kim, social body, internal auditor, it will be available for questions.
Thank you. Is there a motion on the floor?
Move approve.
Second?
Thanks, Noah. Thanks, Julie. Any questions for Kim? Okay. All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? You're off the hook, Kim.
Things you could have asked me.
I've been able to think of something.
That's right. Keep going. Next item on the agenda is construction contracts. Julie, can you do that one?
So this is construction contracts and construction manager as constructor contract amendment for Miami Middle School. It's recommended that the board approve a contract amendment with CME Corporation as part of the construction manager as constructor contract for the Miami Middle School renovation project previously approved on December 11th, 2023 and amended June 10th, 2024. So the original, so the amendment amount is $13,859,284 for a total contract amount of $14,043,584. It's also recommended that the board approve the following construction contract for temperature controls at Miami Middle School, and those are from Automated Logic for $777,850. The project consists of architectural, mechanical, plumbing, and electrical renovations to Miami Middle School. The procurement method for this project is the construction manager as constructor for publicly funded projects as allowable per Indiana Code. This amendment establishes the final overall guaranteed maximum price for the project. The existing building automation systems or controls are proprietary, and Automated Logic is a single source vendor for this work. These contracts will be funded from the 2020 School Building Basic Renewal Restoration and Safety Project Bond. Project specifications require the work to be completed by July 24th, 2026. And Josh Summers, Coordinator of Capital Projects, is available to answer any questions.
Thanks, Julie. Is there a motion on the floor?
Move for approval.
Second.
Thanks, Julie. Thanks, Ann. Any questions for Josh?
I have a question. Pertains to Automated Logic. We approve a lot of those for Automated Logic, and I see that they're the single source provider. Are they really the single source provider, or are they the single source provider to us because of other systems that we have operating that don't interface with the other things that we have operating? Because we have a couple of other ones that way too. So just wondering when it says that.
Yeah, there are other building controls contractors, but how many of our buildings, Pete, have Automated Logic systems?
Well, the school's 49 of the 51.
Yeah. I was like, we have a couple that have a Havel system, but I think even those we're replacing one of the Havel systems. Is that right?
North side, correct.
Yeah. So really, for all of them to work together, yeah, the Automated Logic is our single source for that.
I brought that up one time to one of your peers in a social setting because, as Jennifer said, It's only one. It's like, who's going to go compete against them? So they work strictly with this piece, and they said, leave them alone. They're the best provider. Are they open source? Is that right? Or allows for more configurations?
I believe, yeah. I mean, I just actually got a text message from Bob Shank at Northrop that asked me if I could turn the gym on, so I can do that from my phone. So, yeah, I think they're the one source that we use, yes.
That you guys like?
Yeah.
A lot.
Yeah.
That's kind of what was explained to me. Is they're the best. So.
Sounds good. Thank you. Beth?
Anything else?
That's it for me.
Any other questions? Thanks, Josh.
Thanks.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Next up, we have emergency projects. Noah, can you do that?
Sure, it's recommended the board declare an emergency for the following projects and allocate funds from the emergency allocation within the capital projects plan. St. Joe Elementary, Scott Academy, Tolles Intermediate, Portage Middle School, replace damaged condenser coils and chillers for $40,929.70. Kikiana Middle School, repair chiller, $27,920.06. Kroninger, St. Joe, South Wayne, and Shawnee repair broken sewer lines. I've been told repeatedly by my spouse, for $18,216. Northside High School repair backup generator, $12,084.50. Lincoln Elementary repair water main break, $64,146.83 for a total of emergency projects of $163,297.09. 2024 capital projects plan consists of all capital projects that cost $10,000 or more. New projects over $10,000 determined after the CPP was approved are required to follow advertisement and approval requirements of an amended CPP. However, Indiana Code 20-40-18-6 for keeping notes at home allows the board to determine that an emergency exists and therefore amends the current CPP without the usual amendment procedures. The 2024 Operations Fund budget includes an appropriation for emergency capital projects, and Pete Smith, the manager of maintenance operations, is here to answer any questions.
Thanks, Noah. Is there a motion on the floor?
So moved.
Second.
Thanks, Ann. Thanks, Noah. Any questions for Pete?
Which is the worst in your mind?
It's the world I live in. Lincoln Elementary by far.
That's a pretty big cost for a pretty big water main break.
That's right. Well, ironically enough, about 3 years ago, Arlington Elementary had a water main break literally in about the exact same spot. Those are sister buildings.
Yeah.
So this one was a bit unique because where the water main was broken, it was right under a concrete pad where the chiller was going to go years ago, so it had a bunch of rebarb in it. And it took the contractors extra time to tear that concrete and that rebarb out. And of course, the water main came in right under the electrical vault, not to get too technical, so we had to reroute that line a week before school started.
Nice.
Well, as I said, my spouse will tell you the one bathroom for all 600 at Kroninger a couple days in a row was rough for them, but they survived. So, thanks for your comments, Pete.
Absolutely.
Any other questions? Thanks, Pete. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Next up, we have the general obligation bonds. Jen, can you do that one?
Sure. It is recommended that the board conduct a public hearing regarding the matter of appropriating the proceeds of the general obligation bonds, Series 2024B, and investment earnings thereon. Subsequent to the public hearing, it is recommended that the board adopt resolutions to authorize the insurance of bonds and to approve the appropriation of the proceeds and the earnings thereof. On June 10th, 2024, and again on June 24th, 2024, the board held a 1028 preliminary determination public hearing on the project, and subsequent to the 2024 public hearing, the board adopted the 1028 preliminary determination resolution, making a preliminary determination that there exists a need for the 2024-25 district-wide equipment and facility improvement project, as defined and described in detail in the 1028 preliminary determination resolution, and to finance this project with the insurance by the school corporation of general obligation bonds in one or more series in an original aggregate principal amount not to exceed $55,650,000. No petition requesting for the application of the referendum process was filed with the Allen County Voter Registration Office by any members of the community subsequent to the adoption of the 1028 preliminary determination resolution. We are now ready for the next step in the approval process. which is the public hearing on the appropriation of the proceeds of the general obligation bonds, Series 2024B, and investment earnings thereon. Upon the conclusion of the public hearing, the board will vote on the two resolutions. One resolution authorizing the issuance of the general obligation bonds, Series 2024B, and two resolutions approving the appropriations of the proceeds of the general obligation bonds, Series 2024B, and investment earnings thereon. At this time, all interested parties are entitled to present their testimony regarding the projects or bonds. Okay. Oh, yeah, that's you. Yeah, no, yeah. If anyone would like to comment, they can come to the microphone. We ask speakers to limit remarks to 1 3-minute session. As there is no one who wishes to speak, the hearing is now closed. We need a motion to approve.
Madam President, I make a resolution authorizing the issue of the general obligation bond, Series 2024B.
Thanks. We also need a motion to approve.
I need a second.
Oh, we need a second for that first.
Second.
Thank you. Thanks for keeping me on track. We need a motion to approve the second part, which is the resolution approving the appropriation of the proceeds of the general obligation bond, Series 2024B, and investment earnings thereon.
I so move.
Second.
Thanks, Julie. Thanks, Noah. Okay. So for vote 1, resolution authorizing the issuance of the general obligation bond, Series 2024B, all those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? All right. Vote 2, resolution approving the appropriation of the proceeds of the general obligation bond, Series 2024B, and investment earnings thereon. All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? All right. Okay, so that brings us to the budget report. Chief Financial Officer Rosemary Shipman will present a report that describes the year 2025 budgets for the Education Fund, Operations Fund, Debt Service Funds, and the Safety Referendum Fund. The public budget hearing will be held on October 14, 2024. Board action is scheduled for these budgets on October 28, 2024. The floor is yours, Rosie.
Good evening. Good evening, President Norman, board members, Dr. Daniel, and guests. And most of you have heard this probably 12 times. I'm sorry for the repeat. Are you ready? I am ready. Okay. So we're going to get started with the agenda tonight. We have an adoption calendar. We have the board approvals that we'll talk about, the Education and Operation Fund, both the revenue, enrollment, and expenditure budget. We'll talk about debt funds, the safety referendum, and then we'll conclude with a summary. Moving on, this is what the calendar looks like this year. We have the presentation tonight, and then we have the public hearing October 14th. October 28th will be when you adopt the budget, and then we expect to have our certified 1782 notice certified budget on January 1. That's when the state will issue our budget order. These are the requirements of the board. You have to approve the appropriations, the levies, bus replacement plan, which is a 5-year plan, and then the capital projects plan, which is 3 years. Starting with revenue. Our education fund, as you know, is made up of complexity and foundation. This year, the foundation is $6,681. Complexity is up to $1,121. That is bringing us to a student allocation of $7,802. Our current enrollment as of this morning is $28,695. That's up 142 students this year. So the anticipated basic grant is about $223,878,390. We are actually being allocated a whopping $103 more this year. So we're going to go places with that. Moving on to the Operation Fund. As you can tell, we are limited to the growth factor of 4% again this year. That was set in 2024, and it didn't change. The maximum tax cap loss that we're expecting is 5.5 million this year. Last year, it came in at 3.9, so that was good for us because we had extra levy that we could spend. So we're looking at a net property tax of about $62,662,872 this year in property tax. The circuit breaker loss since 2009 has been $97 million. That's a lot of money. So when you look at the revenue and expenditures, I'm going to go ahead and get my cheat sheet out because those numbers are really small. When you look at 2024, you can see that we had about a $319 million budget. We're moving into 25 with a $326,571,908. If you look at the state tuition for the education fund, that's the second column, we're expecting to come in with about $244 million. That's above the basic grant because we also get CTE dollars, honors, we get NESP money. So all of those funds will wrap into the education fund and it'll come in around $244 million. You will see that we have miscellaneous revenue of about $600,000, and then you'll notice that the curricular materials, it's bolded. That was a fund in itself. It was the textbook rental fund. It has now been wrapped into the education fund, and we are expecting them to pay us about $4.35 million for our curricular materials. That's about $157 to $158 a student.
Does that cover our cost?
No. Our costs are well above that. And by grade level, it's, gosh, I want to say 150 to 200 short. But we do send a jot form in by grade level of our expenses, and we can provide you that when we send it this year. We send it in October, and then we get our revenue for textbook in December.
And going forward, we won't be able to clearly define how short or how much coverage we have. If it's
we actually will be able to define that because we have a way within our financial system that those funds will stay separate. Even though they're in the education fund, they will have a specific key and object that we'll use. And that way, when we go to negotiations for teachers also, those funds cannot be negotiated.
But we can't tell coming from the state how much they're allocating then. Is that, or will we be able to?
They will tell us how much they're going to allocate per student. We'll be able to tell you the actual cost of what it is per student plus what we received by grade level.
Be a topic of discussion in 2025 in the legislature, I assume?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
But sorry, it's already baked in. It's not a separate line item. It's all lumped in. That part's done, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yes. In 25, it'll come up again when we go to the budget year. And they'll start reviewing how much they've paid us and how much.
For the amount, but not the way it's allocated.
Correct. That won't change. Okay, so then when we move on to the operation fund, the levy will be the $62,662,872. Our excise, CVIT, FIT, that's going to come in about $5 million. Interest income, if you've noticed, is going to be 5.5. It's going down 500,000 because we're losing the ESSER funds, so we also lose interest. Indirect costs the same way. It's coming in at 3.1, so that's going down 900,000. And then miscellaneous revenue of 543. That creates the entire budget that we are coming up to at 326. But if you notice, a $13 million transfer from education to operations is needed this year because of the shortfall. And so that'll be about 5% of our state support. We're allowed to transfer up to 15%, so we're well below that, but it is higher than it was last year by 1%. If you notice at the bottom, we have the per student dollar amount. Last year, per student, we received about $11,188. This year, it's coming in at $11,381. That's between the education and the operation fund together. You'll notice the two costs, the $82.49 and the $31.32, we add that together. So that's about $193 more per student between the two funds. And as it was brought up today in a meeting, we did lose about $40 million in voucher money last year. So that was.
So we've lost $97 million over a roughly decade in property tax cap and $40 million just this year in vouchers.
Yes.
That's a new stadium.
There you have it. Okay, moving on to the appropriation and the expenditure side. Between the Education and Operation Fund this year, it's going to be about $335 million. You got a little quicker than I did. $335,314,937. On the education side of things, there are 4 components: salary, fringe, curricular materials and supplies, and then the textbooks. Of course, the education fund is only spent on teachers, classroom assistants, and anything that touches a classroom or a school building. If we move to the operation fund, that's going to be $89,765,755. That touches the administrative side of things, the business department, human resources, FACE, facilities, warehouse, utilities, things like that. As you notice, again, the print is small. You can move on to the capital projects.
How much of our operations is utilities?
How much of our operations?
I assume that's under general operations.
Julie, I'm going to have to get back to you. I've never figured that.
Would any of those voucher recipients report how much they have to spend on utilities?
No, sir.
Thank you, just clarifying.
You do anticipate utilities increasing, though, do you not?
Yes, they have increased. They have increased. But I will get back to you on the percentage of the utilities. In the operation fund, you have bus replacement, transportation, capital projects. Then the general operations, that's usually salary, fringe, materials, and supplies for those, and the art museum, which is a pass-through. If you look at the capital projects plan, which is part of the operation, we are mandated to a 3-year plan by the state. That capital projects plan covers 62 buildings, 50 of which are schools. That's over 5 million square foot of building. The average building's about 60-plus years, and FWCS covers 145.7 square miles. And this is what CPP helps maintain: the 900 acres of mowing, the 4 million square foot of roofs, 4 million square feet of snow plowing, 3,700 doors, 194 boilers that have 4,000 pieces. We have 3,000 clocks, 30,000 light fixtures, and 9,000 plumbing fixtures. That's just a few of the highlights that Darren worries about with only 18 million.
That's bananas.
If my assistant slips, $18,750,000. Plus, then you have like the emergency money and the land, but that doesn't contribute to a lot. So then the final part that we need to mention in the operation fund is the bus replacement. That's about $500,000. That again is a 5-year plan that's required by state. The buses have to be 12 years old. That is a mandate of the plan. They have to be 12 years old to trade them in. We have 179 buses we own with 47 activity buses. We have 855 routes that are regular, midday, and special ed. We transport 11,758 students of the 17,700 that are eligible. We drive about 2.54 million miles in 23-24, and we go through 319,000 gallons of gas last year.
Nice.
I thought those were interesting facts.
Very.
Moving on to debt. We have about $44,428,919,000 that we are looking at this year. The 2020 referendum, we will do our final issuance in 2025. That's going to be about $21.7 million. And the final payment on that 2020 referendum will happen in 2044. We are getting ready to do a bond issue, or a bond sale, I'm sorry, in October of '24 for the athletic bond. And our estimated finalized payment on that, the DLGF will give that to us when we get our final 1782 notice in January. And so when we get to the next slide, you will see that I have the anticipated debt highlighted. We're going to continue to seek the technology loans of $4 million. I was telling them this morning that right now they have not released the final or the fall CSF. So we are not positive that they're going to have it. We're hopeful. Normally this time period is when we get the fall release, and we have not received that. And as you remember, last year we did not get that $2 million CSF, and we had to go for a GO bond. So we are sitting in a tough spot right now if we don't have that release this week. So looking at debt, as you can tell, the New Tech 2009 has fallen off. The state technology loans are about 3.8. The general obligation bond is 4.6. And then we have the anticipated debt, the athletic bond, at around $6 million. So that's coming in with an appropriation of $14 million. Oh my gosh, it's so far off. 918, 919. Did I get that right?
515.
Oh, 515, 919. And then the referendum is coming in at $29,913,000. So as you can see, we will be at the promised rate of 3.028.
And that's before we know what properties are assessed at, right?
Properties are certified net assessed value came in at 9.61 higher this year. So we will be announcing that our tax rate is a little lower this year than last, but all of our assessed values at our homes will be going up by 9.61%. And we
Say
just
that one
received.
part again, the tax rate will be lower?
That was my final little clinching
Oh,
statement.
sorry.
That was the good news of the night. I wanted to join the party of all the teachers. So if we want to talk about the safety referendum now, we're going to go for the full 12 million. The safety referendum, of course, has all of the staff, the SRO contract, it has the advocates, the well-being, it has materials and supplies, it has some gasoline in there for the vehicles. The important part about this safety referendum is it's going to allow us in January to hire our final 21 advocates, our student advocates, and those will be in the buildings in January. Matt has been working hard to make sure that he has all of the interviews completed and things like that, so we're able to hire them. And then also we will start a pilot in 24-25 with the peacemakers, and it will be in the middle schools. And these funds will allow that to happen. So that's the good news. And we've had great compliments on the yonder bags that the referendum had helped purchase this year. And we've had teachers complimenting the bags and what they're seeing with students paying attention in class and having great days in school. So that's pretty exciting also. So as far as the budget goes, this is the summary, and I'm going to cheat again, just because the printing's so small and you obviously can see I can't read. We're looking at an increase, or our budget recommendation, our appropriation is $391,743,856. The current, or the advertised levy, as you can see, is higher this year at $126,026,596. You always advertise higher than your expected levy, which our expected is $120,763,140, so that if they want to make an adjustment in that net assessed value, we have room for error. So we always advertise higher than the expected levy. Here's your good news, Mr. Smith. Expected 2000 total tax rate this year of 0.9248. Last year, the expected rate was, and it fell at 0.9311. So we are coming in at 0.0063 lower, which is less than a penny, but hey, I can say we lowered taxes this year.
Great work.
And that concludes the budget presentation. Thank you.
Thanks, Rosie. Any questions for Rosie? Thank you. Okay, thanks. Okay, that brings us to board member comments. Steve?
I'm going to present a set of facts here that should convince you that Fort Wayne Community Schools should take partial credit for the stunning defeat of Notre Dame on Saturday. And we all know that the head coach, Thomas Hammock, is from Bishop Luers, so no connection there. But his defensive line coach and recruiting coordinator is Jordan Geely, and his mother is an employee of Fort Wayne Community Schools. So if it had not been for Kathy, there would be no defensive line coach and no upset over Notre Dame this weekend. So I think we can take a little bit of credit for that stunning upset. Great family, and it really is it's a nice day for Fort Wayne, except for the Notre Dame fans who are not feeling very, very good today. Thank you.
Tony?
No comments this evening.
Just one comment, and that's if you've been following the high school diploma saga, the state has the Department of Education and State Board of Education and powers that be, in response to a rather large outcry of parents and citizens and staff, and thank you to all the Fort Wayne Community School staff that took time out of their days and went down to comment at meetings. So they have completely thrown out the GPS and GPS plus diplomas and come up with something different. They've eliminated the whole, the GPS thing was a combination of points and credits, which was hard to understand and I think was going to be very hard to track. So they've thrown out the whole point thing and they've come up with a diploma that has students needing, I think, 42 credits to graduate. And I won't go through all the details, but I mean, to me, there are a couple things that are a little bit concerning. The only English class that a student has to take is English 9. The only math class they have to take is algebra. Probably just a personal point of contention, but I think they should have to take geometry, but it's just what I think. And again, I'm not going to go through all the requirements, but there will be tomorrow night two of our local representatives, Phil Giaquina and Kyle Miller, are holding kind of a town hall to talk about, to ask questions and get more information about this proposed new high school diploma, and that's going to be at the Allen County Public Library at 6 o'clock. So, what's that? Downtown Allen County Public Library at 6 o'clock. So if you're interested in learning more, that's one avenue you can take to attend. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you for keeping apprised of that. A month or so ago, I voted against the yonder pouches, and when I looked to try and join this board, a good friend of mine, Tim Graham, who also was my pastor for many years, who recently left to go into bigger, better things, noted a letter of recommendation on my behalf that I am generally willing to say I was wrong. Not always, and my wife will attest to the not always part, but early results sound like I was wrong on the yonder pouches, and I'm happy and proud to be able to say that, because certainly I recognized that there was a need for something. Wasn't quite sure that this would be the right remedy, but I'll knock on wood, but the data Dr. Daniel has shared with us and the staff, Mike, Manuel, and Matt, in your leadership, I want to thank you for that. Hopefully these trends continue, and all the good positive vibes and feedback we've received regarding middle schools and high schools so far have been very positive. So kudos to Matt and Mike in particular, Dr. Daniel and staff, and the principals and staff at those schools for implementing this. A bit of a challenge, I would imagine, but it sounds like it's going well. And I hear from my good friends Antoinette over here and Maria that their kids are getting used to it. So that's good to hear. That's it.
Jen?
Oh, the part about I was wrong, you got that down, right? And then
I made a note of it.
okay.
Tonight, we recognized some wonderful leaders in our district, and I thought that was a great thing that we did, but I also want to recognize every single one of those leaders and teachers and staff members and everything else that show up every day. If we could, we'd recognize every single person who steps into their classroom and shows up every day. Obviously, we can't do that individually, but we can as a whole. And I think that that's very important, that not just on Teacher Appreciation Day or whatever, that we actually say what we really feel for these people. And the beginning of school year is exciting for some, it's dread for others or whatever, but now that we're, several weeks in, and I've sat down with several teachers and other things, they're excited about the school year for the most part. They've worked through their kinks of the beginning. But I just want to thank them because we're doing great things here in Fort Wayne Community Schools, but it takes, everyone from pre-K all the way up to that last day for our kids to develop and have relationships with those teachers and get them across the finish line. So for me today, it's just important that I recognize and I personally thank everybody who shows up every day and supports our children. And that includes everybody in this room as well and everything that you do. Thank you.
I just want to thank our community again for voting for our safety referendum. Thank you, Matt. Thank you, Mike, for all that you have done to oversee that. And we have our peacemakers, we have our student advocates, we have our mental health therapists. Hi, Mike. And I'm so glad that we have this in play and we have all these supports for our kids. And I'm saying this because of the tragedy at Appalachia High School that happened last week. That doesn't just affect those families who lost a loved one, but it affects that entire school. It affects that entire community. It affects me. It affects all of us. I know we've had heavy hearts just thinking about that. It's something you just can't get off your mind. So I'm glad that we're doing everything we possibly can to prevent something like that happening in our district.
And if I could add one thing to your mental health, I did have a conversation with a public school teacher in Toledo, and I was mentioning all those things to her about our mental health, our therapists, everything, and she was blown away. And they're about a community about our size, and I know I make reference to them a lot, but I see it, we do things on the river a lot like them. We did downtown development a lot like them, but we're doing something that they're not doing. And one, that is our facilities and maintenance. We show how much money we have to put into that, and I'm super proud of the buildings and the maintenance that we have done in our aging schools. But this is something completely, like I said, she was blown away of what we are offering our educators and our students across the lines, and I'm very proud of that. So thank you again to everybody.
And hopefully other communities will see what we have done and implement these types of things themselves, because we've done some really super things to help with the safety of our schools and the mental health of our students. So we're setting an example.
And we just heard this afternoon at Rotary,
Yes.
whole
Social
media and the impact of social media and what it's doing across our country. So again, having these programs and having these individuals in our buildings to assist our students and our staff, and hopefully it actually trickles to our parents and it does make a difference. And we're hearing from our teachers that there is something different in our buildings, in our classrooms this year. So I think it's not one thing, it's many things. Again, I want to thank Matt and his team, Michael and his team for their implementation. I think we're way ahead of schedule. You've accelerated it, so kudos to you. And again, having been a Toledo Rocket and been part of seeing what Toledo is like, yes, Fort Wayne Community Schools, we should be very proud of what's happening. But again, it's constant improvement. We're never quite at the place where we want to be. There's always room for improvement. So thank you again for all what we did today. And I'd be remiss if I also did not mention what's happening with transportation. Yes, we have more drivers. Yes, we're seeing buses on time, but we still have a bit to go in that space as well. You just heard of a budget, operating expenses, that's where transportation, that's where those expenses derive from. And I would say having buses for co-curriculars, very, very important. And we're going to continue working on that. I didn't realize we literally have tutoring after school. Those kids have to have a way home. So how do we make that happen? Whether it be with our transportation department or CityLink, some way, we have to figure out how to make that happen. So again, thank you, Rosie, for your budget tonight. I know it's a lot of painstaking hours making that all come together as well, Heather. So that's it. Thank you.
Madam President, can I tag along a couple as Jennifer did? Dr. Dino, just to be clear, we're doing great on staffing and hiring, but we're still hiring, right? We still have positions
Absolutely.
open?
We still have positions open. We still would want more bus drivers, still need more teachers, more additional staff, instructional assistants, and so forth. So we're not 100%.
Thank you. And then to tag along what Jennifer said about thank you to the teachers and staff, while we have our good friend Ashley out here in the audience and our friend from 15, appreciate the coverage. I would encourage you and your colleagues, you cover the Teachers of the Year, and unfortunately we can only award 2 per year. As Jennifer said, we got 2,000 of them. We got a lot of great ones in their buildings, in our environments. My sister-in-law, about a month ago, attended a 40-year class reunion with her teacher from Northrop Charisma class. And he does this every year and gathers some of his old students to get together, has all the old videos, has all the old things to watch and show, and it's the one reunion that she makes appointment viewing for. She didn't even go to the high school reunion. She just went to this reunion. The other thing last year I was struck at our teacher and staff retirement party. I don't remember the woman's name, unfortunately, but she was from Northside and taught ELL. And she made it a point to offer to her students, ELL students and parents or guardians, to come to her home and have tea and or coffee with them, just to get to know them. So there's some amazing stories that you can mine within our district, within our staff, within our teachers that do things like that every day that unfortunately don't go recognized because we can only do 2 per year. Thank you, Madam President, for that extra time.
Yeah, absolutely. I will share that my 8th grader is now talking to friends at lunch. So I'm in full support of the Yonder Pouches. They're playing Uno at lunch. And I said, oh, that's really great that you guys are playing cards at lunch. And he said, oh, we played cards before, but we were doing it on our phone. So they're literally sitting next to each other playing cards, not speaking on their phones. And so I just, as a parent, I'll say that I'm very happy that my child is conversating with peers instead of on a phone. So thank you. And I'll just piggyback off of what Noah and Jennifer said. I know I say it all the time. And I didn't get a chance to say anything at the presentation earlier, but I know every day that our teachers and all the building staff, quite frankly, I don't worry when I drop my child off at school because I know that the people inside the building love him like they love every child that walks through the doors, and that they're going to take care of him. And like Noah mentioned, we have teachers and staff members doing extraordinary things for our students, whether it be co-curriculars, shoes, glasses, computers, I mean, you name it. I'm sure that there's people that have done it within our staff. So I also am very proud of the district, and I'm very proud of the work that we've done. Kudos to the teachers for rolling out Schools of Success. I went to the Gratitude event, and a few teachers were excited, but a little nervous to start the school year. I probably need to touch in with them to see if that met their expectations or if their worry was misplaced. So thank you to all of our teachers for adapting to everything we throw at you and everything that the state throws at you. We appreciate all that you do every day for our students and our families. So thank you. With that being said, Would you all like
Move
to?
to adjourn, Madam President.
Second.
Thanks, Noah. Thanks, Steve. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed?
Somebody wanted dinner. I was under strict instructions. Hour and 10 minutes.
I was like, what?